morning and welcome to Cover 2 Cook. We're on episode 143 and we got to talk about this big upsetting college football Saturday. Wasn't supposed to be that many good games. Ended up to being a great Saturday that led us into an 8:30 Sunday morning where the Vikings win, so that's always a good day for me. But we had an action-packed NFL. Some teams get some players back, makes them a whole different team, and then we finish with Tim's best bets. We asked for 4-0. Let's see what the results of our results are for those bets that he put in. So let's get it started.
Yeah. I was going to do a vertical jump there. Thank you, Socks.
Travel been to Indiana, and did Cover 2 Cook get you a good hotel?
Indiana? No, I'm in Louisiana. I'm here to Mardi Gras.
I know that this might be hard, but I don't know how much you remember Friday night since we left you damn near when you fell asleep.
I got my belly full, man. I was like, I warm covers and warm. I was like, I could go to sleep right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Jack Dorsey.
Final answer?
Yes. All right.
This is going to be a long fucking day.
Welcome back to Cover 2 Cook. We're on episode 143, and I'm here with Anthony and Tim. We had a lot to talk about, as Anthony teased before. We had some unexpected big upsets happen in college football. So, Anthony, talk to me about your biggest takeaways.
Yeah, one of the biggest takeaways I have right off the bat is Miami versus Florida State. We said Miami hasn't been tested on the road yet. What are they going to expect? Well, I'll tell you right now, they looked good. Carson Beck looks good in this game. Throws for 4 touchdowns. Tooney and C.J. Daniels for Miami, 2 touchdowns apiece. Might be some names to remember as time goes on. They looked good as well. Could be definitely NFL talent. I think the biggest takeaway from this game, Miami's defense. Gets 2 interceptions that lead to touchdowns. They also got, I think, a fumble that didn't come out with any points, but that's the game right there. When you look at the final score, you think this was a close game, but it was 28-3 going into the fourth quarter. This was not much of a game. Now, did they come back a little bit in the second half? Yes. But Miami has now beaten USF, Florida State, and Florida. They call that a state championship in college when you beat all the Florida schools like that. So good job for Miami on that situation. And then what about Florida State? You got to limit the turnovers. 2 weeks in a row were way too many turnovers that led to no points and then points on the other side. Those are plus minuses you can't afford in college football. The last thing I will take away from this game as well, the more that Miami wins, the better for Notre Dame. So when people are asking me last night, who are you rooting for? Yes, I'm rooting for Miami because as long as they look good, it makes Notre Dame look even better. So, and not as good because they didn't beat them, but it keeps them relevant at least.
Okay, that's fair. Tim, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I thought the Castellanos pick, he's going off his back foot. What are you doing? I mean, you're not Cam Newton. You're not, you don't have an arm like that. He threw it right to him. I think that was a turning point in the game right then. I mean, because they were going down the field, but they just couldn't stop. The Florida State's defense is not very good. And the Miami offense with Beck, whoa.
Yeah.
I would put it right up there with Ohio State right now as the number one and 2 teams in the nation. That Miami team is for real. They're going to be a hard time being pressed getting beat this year. Yeah. I can see them being one of the top 4 seeds. They are really good, right? They're playing really good ball right now.
Oh, I totally agree. And when you go on the road and do that, that is even bigger. But I kind of hinted at this on the last podcast that quarterback for Florida State kind of plays like Kyler Murray in some situations. And just because of the stature and like the way sometimes he just needs to settle down. Yep. And like that interception that's exactly what it was. It was I see it, I'm going to throw it, but your mechanics were not in that situation to throw that kind of ball.
He just threw it off his back foot. Yeah, I mean, he had nothing on the ball.
Yep.
I mean, it was threw right to him.
No, definitely agree.
Yeah. Okay, Tim, well, take me into your first takeaway on Saturday.
Vanderbilt and Alabama. This was one of our must-watch games. Vanderbilt did not take enough advantage when they were in the red zone. Yep. They were in the red zone twice in the first half, and they both were interceptions. They did not capitalize on. You have got to capitalize on an Alabama team like that, especially at Alabama, at Tuscaloosa. You have got to capitalize. I think that interception in the fourth quarter, right early in that fourth quarter, that killed all the momentum. Because if they score there, they got the lead, and now they've got momentum. And they've got Alabama on the ropes, I think. Receivers were dropping passes, and we said as this must-watch, they cannot get behind because they cannot come from behind. They have got to get a lead. And I think if they would have on a couple of them in the first half and got a bigger lead, I think they could have pulled away from Alabama. It just seemed like Alabama was just a better team. I mean, Ty Simpson, another great game, 23 of 31, 340 yards, 2 touchdowns. Alabama won the turnover battle, 3-1. Alabama just came out with urgency. They wanted to win. They wanted to get back at this team that beat them last year at Vandy. And you could tell they had the urgency and they won the game. Vanderbilt has not won. Here's a stat for you. Has not won in Tuscaloosa since, I think, 1984.
Ooh.
Wow.
So it's going to be 2 more seasons before you're going to get a shot at them again in Tuscaloosa.
Yep.
It just seemed like they just kept shooting themselves in the foot. They didn't get the run game going. They have their team that's got to play out ahead. And if they don't, they get behind, they're screwed.
Yeah, I was looking forward to watching this game because we knew that there was a lot riding on this. Vanderbilt needed to take them down, and Alabama needed to prove themselves that, like, you're not going to do it 2 times in a row. And like you answered it, they proved to themselves you weren't going to do this 2 times in a row. Anthony, what was your takeaway on this game?
Yeah, it was crazy to see the players of Alabama celebrating after the game of beating Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, but that is what that game was for them. I definitely agree with the situation of you got to make points, some points, anything in a game that way. It takes the crowd out of it. It just does so much more than just obviously give you points. It gives momentum, things like that. I also think that Alabama right now just looks good. Like, they're playing decent ball. I think this Vanderbilt is a good team. I think they kind of ride on momentum or waves. So it definitely determines whether, if Alabama can keep it going with the crowd. It took Vanderbilt out of this game. I definitely think if this game would play again, I think Vanderbilt would just play just a slightly different type of game because I think it was too lollygagging, too slow, and Alabama just made points off that.
Well, part of my interruption, the dog was unable to get up off the hardwood floor. So,
Or something.
That is the old dog.
Yeah.
All right, Anthony, take me into your second takeaway this weekend.
Yeah, so this game, we didn't even talk about as much watch. Florida and Texas. Hey, Florida's done. The coach is getting fired. It's over. Texas, they're supposed to be a national champion. They just had a bad start, right? That's all it is. They're not a bad team. Psych. Nope. Arch Manning's grandpa made a comment this year to start the year off that Arch will be back at Texas next year. Well, he looks like a fortune teller now because he is correct. Arch Manning, do not go to the NFL. You're not ready. That was a poor performance on that side. The quarterback we're actually talking about is DJ Longaway or whatever for Florida. He had 2 touchdowns with 289 yards for passing. Looked good. Actually, first time this year, I would say he looked good. Every game he's kind of struggled. A lot of interceptions have been on his way. Texas offense is just not good. We talked about in week 1 whether they were holding stuff back because we didn't know if they were just like waiting for SEC football. It's SEC football now, okay? So there's no holding back. No, I just don't think the offensive line can keep Arch upright. I think there was 6 sacks in this game where Arch takes hits. His interceptions are because he's getting pressure, so he's throwing the ball. But also, even when he had the pocket, he's just inaccurate. When you talk about a Manning, that's not the words we say. Eli was accurate. Peyton was very accurate, right? So to say that, and I think when we talk about the biggest disappointment this year, which we're going to talk about the next team that may be the biggest disappointment, but I think Texas is probably the biggest disappointment this year. Like, I think this takes them out now of college football playoffs. I don't want to hear about them. They need to prove themselves going forward, and they have not yet done that once this year.
Yeah, well, and especially with how much talk they had, like you were saying, at the beginning of the season, preseason, all of that, like, Arch is amazing, Arch is going to do all of this, and it just isn't showing. It's not replicating that. So, and it definitely could be his offensive line not helping the matter, and even the offense and helping with turnovers. All the pieces go together to showcase the team. So if you even have a good quarterback and not the rest of the team, it's not going to mesh well. So, yeah, maybe more practice will help. Tim, what did you think about this game?
Well, I think it saved Billy Napier's job by winning. It saved his job. I think he's there. He'll finish the year out. This is a big victory for him. Even the fans, they were SC Nation was at the doing the pregame, and the guy would talk about the coach, and they were booing. I mean, they don't like him whatsoever.
Wow.
I mean, I think this saved his job. I think it looks like Arch also for Texas. He's holding on to the ball too long. He's not getting out of the pocket. And the one play where he got his helmet knocked off, this was at the end of the game. He came out, and the backup came in, threw a dart to the receiver and got a first down. And then he bring him back in, and then he gets sacked. He's just not – I think he looks out of – I don't know. He's holding on to the ball too long. He's not getting out of the pocket and scrambling like he's known to do. He's just he's out of sorts. And you know what, Anthony? I don't know if Texas will want him back next year if he comes back. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, the season ends. If they're 6-5 or 7, let's say 7-5, they may move on from him. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Because he ain't gonna be worth the money.
Yeah, I think like that's hard to say because of the name that comes with it. Obviously, it's and you got to think too. Like when we say colleges get rid of players, that's a little forbidden, right? Like they don't do that. They do, but they don't do that, right?
Yeah.
I think I was watching the Georgia and Kentucky game, and they were talking about Gunnar Stockton. Just throw the ball. Just throw it. Sometimes when one-on-one coverage doesn't mean that you're actually getting guarded. That wide receiver might actually have a better chance of catching that one-on-one catch. And we've talked about, you've seen Aaron Rodgers talk about percentages and what favorable and stuff like this. I think it's the same thing with Arch Manning. Just throw it, bud. Let's see the arm. Like, I get it. That might lead to interceptions, and that's okay. But you got to at least give some of these wide receivers chances to get the ball down the field. And, yeah, Florida must have partied hard last night on that one, too.
I bet, yeah. It just looks out of whack. Yeah. I just don't think – that's not what Texas signed up for with this guy.
Yeah.
I think they wanted him to be better, and maybe his offensive line is beat up in that. I don't know, but he's just holding on to the ball too long, I think.
Yeah, and last thing I'll say too is
last
year Quentin Ewers, they were like he wasn't performing at the level they wanted, and they were like, Arch, we need Arch.
Yeah.
When does that start coming for the backup now? Like when do we say we want the next one because this ain't working? I don't. And before we go down the whole bashing Arch, he's very inconsistent with throwing the ball. But I do think that offensive line, being as bad as it is causing a lot more problems for him. So, may not just so be him. Let's just remember that.
And how old is he? Like 19?
Well, he's a junior. He's an actual junior. So
yeah, so 20, 21.
20?
But when you're talking about college football, that's actually mature.
Yeah.
Like, because that could be someone that's going to the draft this upcoming year. And Arch can do that, but I wouldn't. Yeah. It doesn't look like it's going to work out for him.
Okay. All right. Well, let's not dwell too long here. Tim, why don't you take me into your second biggest takeaway this weekend?
Oh, boy, do I have a takeaway on this one.
Okay.
Penn State and UCLA. Oh, I think the hangover from the Oregon loss really affected this team. The effort and execution was definitely not there for Penn State. Penn State, they did end up, I think their linebacker, Tony, if I'm saying this, Rojas, they're missing him. And it doesn't sound like he's going to be back the rest of the year. So this defense is really going to struggle with it. But they made that Nico Ayamala look like he was Joe Montana back there.
Yeah.
I mean, 16 carries for 128 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's rushing. That's not passing. That's rushing. Multiple times Penn State had him 3rd and long, and Nico's legs just got the best of him. I mean, they would get out of it. Running backs Anthony Woods and Thomas both had 60 yards apiece. The pass rush for Penn State non-existent. He was just throwing the ball. This is the 3rd time that James Franklin has been favored by more than 20 points. 3rd game in a row, and has lost.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, wow.
This is not good. If they want to be part of the CFP, and I don't know if they are now, we talked off deal. I don't know. This is a very bad loss. Very bad loss. Penn State has Northwestern next week. I don't. They better come to play because guess what? Northwestern beat UCLA.
Yeah, but everyone's beat UCLA. They hadn't won a game until they played Penn State. Like when you talk about this game, you're saying the hangover. No, that literally is what James Franklin said in a press conference.
Yeah.
The players and the staff, I think we were No, that comes on you. That is not on a player to not have a hangover. I remember, and yes, D3, whatever you want to talk about.
Right.
I remember losing games and we coming in on Sunday or Monday and it was video for 20 minutes, and that's it. We're moving on. It's the next game. We're focused on the next game. And I feel like that's just what Penn State forgot to do. Like, Nico actually looked good for the first time this year. And it honestly, it was one of these things where I kind of was like, well, he used to be an SEC quarterback playing in the Big Ten now. And he hasn't played good yet. Looked good against Penn State. I think when you look at this game, just like Texas, you've lost a game that, yes, you played a good team and you lost. Now you lost to a team that's very bad, okay?
Yeah.
So if we want to talk about where Notre Dame sits, which we'll talk about them next, is they lost to two teams that are in the top 10, possibly could be in the top 5 with how good they're playing. Texas A&M and Miami. Notre Dame needs to start jumping up. Start remembering how their losses were actually meaningful, good team losses. This one, wow, Penn State.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. It's time to look at, okay, how did they get there, and how are the teams that they played against doing now?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the post game, I couldn't believe that what Franklin was saying. Throwing his players under the bus.
Yep.
Throwing everybody under the bus but himself. Yeah, buddy, you didn't have this team ready to go. That's on the coaching. That's not the players. That's coaching. We said that before.
Yep.
When a team looks lethargic, that's on the coaching for not getting prepared.
Yep.
And for him to throw them players under the bus, I think he's feeling the heat of not winning the big games now. And I think now they may be looking into a new coach.
Yeah, well, it definitely sounded like a Dabo Sweeney interview.
Yeah.
Anytime I can throw him in a conversation and rag on him, I'm going to. But it did. It felt like it was, we lost because of everyone else, but because of
me.
And the real reason was because of coaching.
Yeah.
And I will say, too, execution on their side. That offense has struggled all year, and it has to start clicking. And we're now, week 6, 7 of college football?
Yeah.
If it ain't clicked yet, it ain't clicking. Nothing's clicking. Right. So that's a very we just said biggest disappointment, Texas. Penn State might be the second biggest. And we're still got Clemson in there. We still got huge disappointments.
Yep.
It's a scramble for last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about Notre Dame. Please catch me up on this. I was a little busy yesterday, so I didn't get to watch all this. So, Tim, talk me through the Notre Dame game.
They look good. The offense. The one time that I seen CJ Carr threw down the field, and I think he threw an interception. It's just like, oh no, buddy. Yeah. But they were up 28-7, I think, at the time. Their defense is starting to play better. You know, this Boise State team wasn't. They were good, but they weren't really the greatest. But it's starting to get. They'll get there. They'll get there.
Mm-hmm.
I think by November they'll be there. It's just. It almost going to be like a letdown game, but because the final score is 28-7.
Yeah.
So it was like, you think they could have more, but it was just a lethargic game, I thought.
Okay. All right. Well, Anthony, you watched this through and through. So tell me, do you believe what Tim is saying, or do you think something different?
No, I do. I agree with it. I will say, yes, I did sit here and watch in a Shrek costume, watching the end of Notre Dame, because that's the game I need to watch. You can come on here and complain about, we got to win by more than that. Got to win by more than 21. The one thing I will say is this team has to get better each week, and it is getting better each week. A defense that gets 4 interceptions, 2 by Leonard Moore alone, that's a defense that's got to keep playing that way, right? Now, I still don't like how they're giving up big plays. There's still too many big plays happening on the defensive side. On the offensive side, yes, you're talking about CJ Carr throwing interceptions, but it's nice to be able to throw the ball down the field, which Notre Dame hasn't done in the past couple of years. There was one play earlier in the game where CJ Carr had a guy it was a 4th down. It was a post route. It was wide open. He overthrows it. It's like, got to hit those. But I will say this, at least we're taking those chances. I think when we talk about the offense, they just had to execute better. I'm not worried. The panic meter's pretty low on this one, but we had a 4th down in the red zone that we didn't score in the beginning of the game. Those are types of plays that if we would have lost this game, we'd be talking about those moments. So just execute so we don't have to fear about it. Last thing I'll say too, they are a top 15 team. I would almost fight to say they are a top 10 team. When we're looking at what they're putting for top 10 teams, Notre Dame is up there. They've lost again. I will repeat this every damn week. They've lost by 4 points in 2 games. to two teams that I think top 10, Miami is fighting for a number 1 spot. Just remember that. And Miami was at Miami. Notre Dame played Texas A&M at home. They should have won that one. But 4 points, 2 games.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I will also say winning by 21 is still a good feat. Like, it's not common to have 56 and 43 point games that they've been having. So, like, to have that, like, cushion of a lead is still a good note to take away from this.
It is, but remember last year, and I know we don't want to be like, oh, last year's the most relevant thing for, obviously, Notre Dame, obviously, with this whole losing a game that shouldn't have lost. But you got to do that. You do have to beat up on some of these teams, because what everyone's going to say to you is you have a weak conference, or, well, you have a weak schedule because you're not in a conference, right? So if we're going to schedule a Boise State, which, remember, was a playoff team last year, okay, yes, Ashton Genty is not there anymore, but was a playoff team and came in 3-1, I would have loved to have seen a 56 burger on them, right? Like, because that offense could have done it. They just didn't execute. So that's why my panic meter's low, but I don't want to see this again coming up in weeks going forward. We need to execute when the time comes.
Okay.
Yeah, because USC's coming. USC's coming.
Yeah.
In a couple of weeks.
And I'm saying we because I'm sitting there supporting them as if I was on the sideline with them.
I know you are. You're yelling at them too, like you're out there.
Well, yeah. I was like, come on now.
All right. Well, let's move over to NFL. Let's talk about our fantasy for a little bit. Anthony, how's your fantasy looking?
Yeah, so if the people that I play in a league with, if they're watching this, they are going to laugh, because I'm going to call myself going forward the waiver wire wizard. Okay, this week I went and picked up Ricard White. Yep. Rashard White. I'm sorry. Rashard White. That went off for 20-plus points this week. I picked him up this week on the waiver wire. I also picked up Rico Dow. That went for 30-plus. Now, that's coming off of last week where I picked up Romeo Dobbs that went for almost 40 points. I don't know. You know what I mean? If I win this week, which right now I'm at 142 with James Cook and Harrison Buckner still to go. The person I'm playing is at 110 with Matt Holmes and Keon Coleman still to go. PPR league, there is some big points that could be added. But it looks like I'm going to win here. I'll be up in first place. Life's good when you're winning fantasy football. So let's just keep winning. Let's just keep that momentum.
Wow. I don't know about you, Tim, but that sounded like he was just tooting his own horn.
Especially after last year when he said he wasn't even going to play fantasy football no more. This game sucks. I hate it.
You're absolutely right. And where there's a high, I hope you continue to ride it, baby.
Yep.
All right, Tim, talk to me about your fantasy this week.
Well, I have one more player to play, and I think it's tonight, and I have 69 points. Ouch.
Yeah.
Not good. Derrick Henry, I don't know what they're doing. With the Lamar Jackson not playing, they're just putting everybody in the box, and they got their ass handed to them by a Houston team that isn't very good. And I've just got some players. I've got a couple people that are hurt. I've tried to pick up some players, but there's just not nothing out there in the waiver wire to pick up. And they're just not. My players are just not. They're not. Yeah, they're not competing. They're not very good.
Well, you know what?
T. Higgins not good. They're not getting him the ball. They're not getting a lot of these people the ball, and it's not.
Well, and you can see even the Jamar Chase, T. Higgins situation with not having a quarterback. I mean, even more and more. Even this game that kind of started looking like it was going to come close at the end with Lions.
Right.
Jamar Chase has got to be more. I mean, he did have 2 touchdowns today, which I was kind of like, this week, the one week I'm playing him, come on, chill out. But and I see T. Higgins did have a touchdown, but if Joe Burrow was back there, it would just be a whole different ball game for you.
No, definitely so. Well, let's talk about Sunday morning. We had a different result. We kind of badgered the Vikings a little bit last week, but they did take the win this morning. So they did win one in London, and now they'll return back to Minnesota. What did you guys think about this morning game?
Yeah, I will start off because I watched it dealing with a little bit of a slower start in my morning, a little bit of a rough Shrek night. When looking at this game, I'm going to say it, and I've said it 100 times, the Vikings have to play a full 4 quarters. Like, they just did it again today, where at the end, we got to find magic to win a game. Stop that shit. Like, beat the team. Like, you just have way too many options. And I think the last drive where they scored a touchdown is exactly what I'm talking about. He used all of his options. Justin Jefferson got a catch. TJ Hockenson got a catch. Jordan Addison scores the game-winning touchdown. The running backs were... Why for 4 quarters can we not do that? Like, why does it take a serious drive to do it? It was good to see Carson Wentz come back into the game and win this game for us. Doesn't look like they gave him the ball after the game. Looks like that shoulder actually is kind of hurting him, so I would like to see what it's going to lead to down the line for us. But it was a good win. But yeah, let's take the bye. Let's kind of get back into it. I hate that they had these 2 international games back to back.
Yeah. Did you watch much of this one, Tim?
I actually kind of forgot about it.
Oh my God.
I was watching fantasy football all morning, so I kind of forgot about it. So I really don't have a whole lot to. I see that. I mean, I picked up Cleveland's defense for a fantasy and forgot to play them.
There it is.
I forgot to play them. I'm like, well, I'll look at my lineup around 11:45. I looked at my lineup and went, you dumbass.
Oh,
Yep.
shoot.
I'm like, oh, they only had 7 points, which was good. I mean, I thought to myself, if I lose today because of not playing them, I'm not going to be very happy with myself. So, yeah, I kind of forgot about it. But I mean, it's a good win. Now they go into the bye. Maybe they can get McCarthy back after the bye. I haven't really heard it too much of if he's on the mend or if it's that ankle's still bothering him or what's going on. But if Wentz is down, boy, that's going to be tough. I don't know who their backup after that is, but their defense just doesn't seem like it's just playing lights out like at the beginning of the year. I don't know. I'm kind of
Yeah, and I think Dylan Gabriel played well. Like, he did not turn the ball over. Played well. I think he earns another start because of what he played like. But yeah, no, I think the defense it has to get there has to be more urgency. Like, I love that Kevin O'Connell is very calm on the sideline, but sometimes I want a little fire under your ass. Let's get it going a little bit.
Right.
All right. Well, let's move into our biggest takeaways. Tim, what was your big takeaway from NFL this week?
Oh, baby. This team right here.
There it is.
Yeah. Big win today against a Philadelphia Super Bowl champion team. Big win. First half didn't look too good. Really, about the first 3 quarters didn't look very good until about the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
And they ended up scoring 19 points. But in the first half, Hurts was getting the ball to Brown and Devontae Smith. They had some pretty good catches. And it was only 10-3 at half. Their defense kept them in this game. There's no doubt in my mind. That defense is a top 5 defense in the league. I don't care what anybody says. That defense is. And the guy that keeps them in there is that Nick Bonito.
I know.
He had 2.5 sacks this game. But I think also for costly penalties after penalties after penalties for Philadelphia. There was one where they were going down the field and they had an illegal shift. Barkley did an illegal shift. They were about ready to go and score again, and they just bad penalties. But killed them. Devontae, that illegal shift for the Broncos. The defense stepped up big today. It kept them in the game. Bo Nix had a monster 4th quarter, scoring 18 points. Nix had a 6-play, 72-yard drive and a 10-play, 64-yard drive. I think those 2 were the big, and then going for the 2. I tell you what, that Sean Payton. He's got some balls, baby. Yep. He has got some. He's got some cojones because I tell you what, if he doesn't get that 2-point conversion and they go down and kick a field goal for the win, was been crucified.
Yeah.
And they did. They got the ball back in decent position, and there was a PI that was not called right at the end of the game with about 9 seconds ago. It looked like a PI. Denver got away with that one. But yeah, they kicked a field goal. They got it with up 4. They went down and the victory, now you got to go. Now you're going to London next week and play the Jets. Do not have a letdown. You're on a roll right now. Once you play the Jets, I think they have a bye after that. Keep this momentum going. There was some question whether are they Super Bowl contenders yet? I don't think so. But they are playing good, and I think by the end of the season, if they can keep playing like this with that defense, they're going to be a team to be reckoned with.
Yep. Well, another game where the 4th quarter changes everything. I love the good witching hour. Anthony, what were your thoughts on the Denver game?
Yeah, I do want to give the roses to Denver as well, but like I think the Eagles just lost this game. I truly do. I think the Eagles had this game. They just got too sloppy at the end and then let Denver in this. I will say at the other side of the for Denver, AFC West looked like it was going to be Chargers, and we're going to talk about it because that's one of my takeaways. But this now puts them back in the driver's seat for this AFC West for them. I think it's a huge win. I do agree with the Sean Payton. I did laugh because I did see the stat of the DN having 2.5 sacks, and I was like, he's going to come on this damn podcast. And Von Miller again.
Here's another stat I got for you. He's got 7 sacks this year.
Yeah.
In 5 games.
Yeah.
The Broncos record is Von Miller with 18. I think he could get there.
Oh my God.
I'm going to, my crystal ball, I think he can get there. He's got a damn good shot at it.
Look at what you started.
And now you
Look
get
at
an
what
extra
you
game.
started.
Now there are 17 games this year. And they've only played 5, so you got 12 games to get 11 sacks.
Yeah.
I think he can do it.
Yeah, he's been playing very well. I think that defense, and honestly, the matchup of Sutton and AJ Brown was great today.
Yep.
I did play, Surtain, yeah.
Yeah.
On the other side, Sutton, I did not play on my fantasy because I thought he'd get locked down. He actually came out with a pretty good game.
Yeah.
Bo Nix played well as well. Yeah, good for your Denver. That was a good win. That's one where you got to move on. Again, though, I'm going to say this because the Vikings are coming off the international. I think it's going to take a lot of your momentum away by going to play an international game. And I think it's something that NFL needs to talk about. I want to expand the game. I totally do. But Denver comes off a big win against off of Philly, and now they're traveling. It just takes
they're not even going back to Denver. They took a flight from Philadelphia to London right after the game.
And that just
took all their clothes. Yeah.
That takes momentum away from it. So I don't like that. I wish Denver could go back to either Denver or go whoever they're playing next in a U.S. game to keep that momentum because it does. It just changes everything.
I didn't know that there was more than like the Vikings having their 2 weeks in London. I didn't know it was going to continue all
There's
season.
like 6 or 7. There are 6 or 7 European games this year.
Yeah.
There's a lot. They're going to be playing in November.
Yeah, I think we got like 4 more.
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
So more 8 a.m. games for Lisa.
Hell yeah.
All right, Anthony, why don't you take me into your biggest takeaway from Sunday?
Yeah, I talked about the Giants and Saints, and we're like, why does this game matter? And I said, because the Saints aren't as bad as what they look like on their record-wise. Well, they showed it today. Spencer Rattler gets his first win, but this was a win for Kellen Moore. This wasn't a win for any player. It was for the coach. He deserved this. The Saints were able to get after the Giants, having 5 turnovers. Now, before we get all, okay, this is 5. It's a rookie quarterback. Okay, you're got to expect turnovers. And you have a rookie running back, which led to some of your turnovers today. Cam Skadby. I do love the meme that's going around where he's yelling at a equipment person, I need new gloves. The gloves are not going to hold on to the ball, bud. You got to hold on to it. I get it. It did take a little bit of this hope that was coming out of the Giants organization. They did look very unorganized today. That's on the coach again. But just take a deep breath. It's a rookie quarterback. It'll kind of go back. On the Saints way, Spencer Rattler gets his first win out of 11 starts. Good for him. But I just think they made big plays when they needed to. Shaheed with that huge touchdown dropped his ass this week, so maybe I'm not the waiver wire wizard, but they did. And then the defense scoring as well. When your defense scores points, you're most likely going to win a game because it adds to that thing. And yeah, Saints look, here we go. That's momentum. That's all you need. I actually, at the beginning of the year, I think they were the team that I was going to predict to not win a game. And I can't believe I'm now like rooting for them because I do think they're better than what their record shows.
Yeah, for sure. Well, good for Spencer. He needed that. That stat was pretty scary last week.
Yeah.
Tim, what did you think about this game?
I think the Rattler to Shaheed, that ball he threw on a dime.
Yeah.
I mean, that was an awesome. And then when Skadby fumbles and that guy runs right back for a touch, that was because they were going down the field and driving.
Yep.
It just seems like the bad deal with him is that he is a north-south runner.
Yep.
He is not somebody that can get outside and outrun somebody. He's got to use his brute strength to run in the middle. And that's what happens. I mean, it didn't seem like I have him in my fantasy. And he just, 2 yards, 3 yards. I mean, it isn't. He's almost like good when he's down in the red, or not in the red zone, but like at the goal line.
Yeah.
Just give it to him and he can punch it in for you. But
Unless
it's
he
just the
fumbles.
idea that he can't. And like you said, everybody, if you're a Giants fan, relax. He's a rookie. That you're going to have growing pains with this kid.
Yeah.
I think he was doing a lot of running too, which he's going to have to start. He's got to get better on that. He's going to get lit up one of these times, and he'll be down for a while.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They had that momentum beating the Chargers, and then they go to, and this is a game they should have won.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind. And they just didn't do it.
Yeah. Well, and I'll say this too about Cam Scatterbo. I said it once. I'll say it again. This north-south is great when it's going, but that's not longevity in the NFL. You cannot do that. And
we better have a good offensive line if you're going to do that.
Yeah. Definitely.
And they don't.
Yeah.
And they don't have a good offensive line.
Gotcha. All right, Tim. Well, take me into your second takeaway this weekend.
I'll tell you what, this game was the 3 o'clock game, 3:30 game. We said this is a must-watch, and yes, it was a must-watch. Tampa and Seattle. This was a thrilling shootout, I thought. That interception at the end, I mean, everybody was going back and forth. I think there was 3 lead changes. They had 2 turnovers, but this was going back and forth. This game was like 10-7 at half, and 13-7 at the half. Tampa was up. But in the second half, both teams combined for 53 points. I mean, this game became a shootout. And that, like I said, that interception was just, I mean, it looked like it went off the defender's helmet, and he was right there. I mean, that was a killer. I give him great field position. And it's just like, that's the old Sam Darnold we all know and love.
Yep.
He seems like he does really well. And him and JSN, they're a good combo. It's just Mayfield and Ibuka is a really good combo while Evans has gone, but that is a good combo. It just seems like he just finds one play in a close game to just not get there, Darnold. So the Bucs are, and one last thing, the Bucs are the first team in NFL history to start 4-1, and all 4 wins coming by 3 points or less to start a season.
Wow, those are close, nail-biting games.
Yeah. So this was a good game. I wish it was on like Fox or CBS. It was on the Red Zone, so you got to see a lot of it because they were doing a lot of scoring in the second half. First half, not so much, but the second half, there was quite a bit. So, I mean, this was a good game. I mean, they were the defenses worked there. I mean, I think Mayfield almost had 400 yards, and so did Darnold in passing. Ibuka had like 160-some yards, and I think JSN had like 130-some yards of receiving. So, I mean, this was a good – wasn't a defensive struggle. This was going up and down the field in the second half.
Yep.
Wow, that's a lot of yards to accumulate, and that's just on one side. To say the other side did the same, that's crazy. Anthony, what were your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, so Ohio State is the wide receiver U. Like Ibuka, Jackson Jigba, you have Marvin Harrison doing well today. You have Chris Olave. You have all of these wide receivers that are just, and Ibuka is a stud. But you know what? We could give all the Ibuka and Jackson. But Baker, damn Mayfield, I love it. He finds a way to win the games when it's time to win. It's one of those ones where you always would make the joke of, if you got one last shot, who you giving it to, LeBron or Michael? If I got the ball right now in the NFL, I think I'm putting Baker at quarterback. And, yes, you got Josh Allen. You have all these players. But Baker just finds a way to win these games. This was a great game. This was up and down. But I will say, though, when it comes to playoff time, you're going to have to play some defense. Yeah. So both these teams are good, but you're going to come against an Eagles team that wants to play defense. Yep. You're going to play against some of these teams that do play good defense, and you're not going to be able to throw the ball the way you do.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of looking at it for Baker. Is like he's a playmaker. He's gonna get you to the end. That's a good way of putting it.
He's a closer. That's all he is.
Yeah.
Sometimes throughout the 3 quarters, you're like, "What the are you doing, Baker?"
Right.
But then when the ball's 2 minutes ago, whatever, he finds a way to win these games.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's real good. All right, Anthony, what is your second takeaway this weekend?
Yeah, so I will say I definitely agree. The last game we just talked about was the game of the week. But there was a close second, and I actually think these Commanders and Chargers was a great game. Jane Daniels, back in the lineup. What does that mean? That's a W on that. That is the only difference of this team from last week that looked very, very slow. Jane Daniels comes back. You're kind of wondering off this injury. I didn't start him, in fantasy. I was like, I don't know what to expect. Looked great. Because remember, they don't have McLaurin still yet.
Right.
Deebo Samuel, though, is a hell of a step up to have at the wide receivers position. We were wondering, why in the offseason are they going to get Deebo? And what a great opportunity they got from this. Deebo has a great game. I think the running back, that Krosky Moret or whatever.
Yeah, Bill.
Yeah, Bill runs for 2 touchdowns in this game. I think when they got rid of Brian Robinson, it was like, what are you doing? I think they also knew that was behind him. When Jane Daniels is in the lineup for the Commanders, they are the team that we remember of last year. They are very good. On the other side, Chargers, they're going to run away with the AFC West. They beat up on Denver, and they did all this, and, oh, man, they're going to look good. Justin Herbert gets sacked 4 times, throws an interception today. It just felt like there wasn't the urgency. And I will say this about the coach as well. If he's winning, he can run his type of offense, where he can run the ball down your throat. But when he's losing and he's got to come back, I do feel like it's something that's unfamiliar with him of throwing the ball down the field. I think there was a lot of drops today. Quentin Johnson, when he's good, he's good. But, man, he just drops too many damn open balls. I do feel like the Chargers are – I'd put that panic meter just a little bit higher now. Like, when you lost a couple, it was like, oh, you lost to the Giants, a rookie quarterback. Okay, what? Now we lose this game, it's like, okay, like I thought we were going to be a team that was mentioned for a possible Super Bowl run coming out of the AFC West. I don't think so now. I think they'll be lucky to make it to the playoffs, which is crazy to think when we were looking how early they were looking.
Yeah, definitely. Tim, what are you thinking here? Are you thinking the same?
Yeah, I mean, they didn't – I don't know if that Washington defense is that good. They held down Ladd McConkey pretty good today as well. He didn't get the ball hardly at all. I mean, and Quentin Johnson, I mean, they just didn't look like – I don't know. They didn't use Hampton. I don't know if it's because they got behind in the second half, so they didn't even use Amar and Hampton that much because that's his MO, Harbaugh is. Run the ball.
Yep.
And I think maybe they need to get back to that. I think they're throwing the ball just a little bit too much. Use your rookie. Get on him. I mean, use him. Use his legs and manage the game. Let him back. It's almost like Herbert is almost like trying to do too much, I think. And it's just, I don't know. You get back to what was working to before. When you won 2 weeks or 2 weeks ago, you used Hampton. Even last week in a loss, you still used Hampton quite a bit. They need to get back to the running attack. And that opens up the field downfield.
Yeah, but that's hard to do when you're losing. And that's why I'm saying it.
True.
Harbaugh, when you're losing, it seems like he just like doesn't know what he's got to do. And you have to be able to know how that is because there's times where you're going to be losing. So you have to, and I think that's the thing with Chargers. If they can go down and score and get up 7-0, 14-0, they can run the ball and control the clock. If they're down 14-0 or 7-0, they starts doing too much. Justin Herbert holds onto the ball too much, which leads to 4 sacks and throws interceptions. Can't have that happen. But also, too, you can't drop passes. It makes the quarterback look bad, but it hits momentum more than anything.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you both mentioned that you have an honorable mention. So, Tim, will you quickly give me your honorable mention?
Oh, Baltimore. If you're a Baltimore Ravens fan, you are probably not good. They got trounced by Houston today. And I don't know what's going on. Their defense is not good. In fact, they were booing John Harbaugh off the field today. The fans were. And even they interviewed that Van Noy on defense. We got to play better. He's got to start holding us accountable. And that's including me, he said. We have got to play better. Our defense is terrible. So I don't know what's going on with them. It ain't Lamar Jackson. It's their defense is not good.
A lot of injuries there. I mean, it's just a lot of shit that's uncontrollable. Look, and that's really what it is. But hey, we as fans don't have patience. We expect you guys to go find someone else that's going to do the same thing that Lamar Jackson does. No, there's one Lamar Jackson.
All right, Anthony, what was your honorable mention this weekend?
Yes, my honorable mention was real quick. Cam Ward. Hell yes, brother. Hell yes. Getting that win. I've been a fan of Cam Ward. I've said it multiple times on this podcast. I like his energy he brings to this team. It sucks that he goes to a bad team, but at the same time, what if there's chances if he can just get it going? Well, Arizona gave the game to him today. Arizona should have won this game. Hold onto the damn ball into the end zone. That's all I got to say. But you know what? I'm glad they didn't because I love that Cam Ward was able to come down, get them in the they score a touchdown or they kick a field goal at the end, whatever. Drove down the field, and I just love it. I like Cam Ward. I think the way he brings his team and energy, he can be productive. It's the polar opposite of Shedeur in some situations, and we kind of saw that going into the draft. I think we're seeing it on the field now more than ever. Is even though that game just felt like it was out of reach the whole game, they weren't never gonna. When the time came, Cam Ward performed, and I love it. Go Cam Ward.
All right, very nice. All right, so just so everybody knows, we are recording Sunday night, so we still have a Sunday night game and one Monday night game that we will recap on our next episode. But before we close out of here, Tim, tell us how you did on your bets this weekend.
Well, I didn't go 0-4, but I did go 2-2. Miami or the Alabama game, they were only down 9, and Alabama scores with like less than 2 minutes to go. Screw me on that one. And then I had the Chargers today that did not look very good. I mean, they were up 10-0. I'm thinking, oh man, I'm only giving 2.5. Woo woo. Yeah. I think that's all they scored.
Yeah. Well, and Washington, you got lucky on that one because Washington comes back and scores 24 straight.
Yeah, that one weird game, and Maryland was up 20-0.
Yeah.
And I was getting 6.5, and Washington scores 24 unanswered. And I barely win 24-20. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Lucky I was getting a 6.5. Ooh.
Yeah, that one was a little bit of a sweat at the end. I was like, okay, like let's relax, Washington.
Tough way to start the weekend with that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is episode 143. We talked college football, went in depth on them, even got into the whole conversation with Notre Dame as well. And then we moved to NFL, where we talked about our fantasy. We'll recap how the weekend actually finishes on the next episode of fantasy. And then we talked about our takeaways from this Sunday. Great games. Like Lisa said, we have a Sunday night game and a Monday night game that we'll talk back on Wednesday when we record again. Have a great start to your week. If you like what we do, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all those. Have a great week. Enjoy football tonight and Monday because we'll talk about it as what's upcoming. So have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.